Ghana needed the National Cathedral project.
What? What the fuck?
Wait, before you scroll away, give me just a few minutes of your time to explain to you why the National Cathedral project, President Nana Addo's love child, is a necessary evil. Matthew 18:19. For where 2 or 3 people are gathered together in my name, I am in the midst of them. As of 2014, the number of churches in Ghana was 10,000, expected to double by 2025. Some churches are small, some are big, some are very big. But that didn't stop then NPP presidential candidate Nana Addo from making a promise to God that if he won the 2016 elections, he will build for God a big church that would be the envy of the whole world. Fast forward to 2018 and he announces the National Cathedral project, $100 million, 5,000-seater high five to God. So how does that project go from this to this? A $58 million state-funded mud pit in the middle of Accra that turns into a small swimming pool when it rains. How did we get here? 2 things. 1. Location. When the National Cathedral project was announced, there were speculations on where it would be built. Well, there's a lot of land in Accra they could use, but instead, they chose this area. One problem, people live there. Not just people, judges. Well, no problem. The president evicted them all, relocated them, and cleared the area for his big church. Problem solved, right? That is nothing compared to item number 2. Funding. Initially, the president said that the funding for the National Cathedral, quote, will not put undue financial burden on the state, and that the money will come from volunteers and Christian organizations. So basically, we will all do susu until we get enough money to build the cathedral. Okay, sounds good. Until 2019, the then finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, the president's cousin, by the way, I needed to say that, came out to tell Ghanaians that the government would only provide the land for the project, a secretariat, and seed money to get things going. How much seed money, you ask? $58 million. 913 million new cedis. And 6 trillion old Ghana cedis as seed money for the church.
That's one. Randy.
Note that at the time, and even now, Ghana doesn't have decent healthcare. New mothers and their babies don't have beds at major hospitals. Schools don't have enough facilities, so students are going to school in batches. Nurses, teachers, and other public servants sometimes don't get paid for months at a time. But the government could find $58 million as seed money for a church that no one asked for. This is where a lot of people started asking questions. The clergy that were recruited to co-sign the project started leaving one at a time because things were not adding up. And in mid-2022, the project came to a screeching halt. And this is where they were able to get to with $58 million, a pit in the middle of Accra. And to cover their shame, they placed barricades around with police to guard the pit 24/7. But then in 2024, a brave soul by the name Ralph St. Williams, during the reoccupied Julopy House protests, tore down the barricades so that people could take a look for themselves what the government is using their money for, and of course, take a quick swim in the national swimming pool. But the next day, Ralph was arrested for what he did, and NPP online trolls like General Buhari and others labeled this man a thief and a pawn of the NDC. The classic partisan pick-pong technique. Let me ask, who is the thief? The man who spends $58 million of someone else's money on a vanity project while that person can barely afford 3 square meals a day, or the person who tore down 200 cedis worth of plywood trying to expose the truth? The reason why I say the National Cathedral project is necessary is not because we need an edifice to worship God, but as a reminder that we live in a country where greedy men can weaponize God, religion, and tribes to steal from us.